If I'm playing the game, all the better.
Well, if it happens this race, I'll make sure in the interviews afterwards I'm going to blame you for that one.
Of course.
Looks like we're starting.
Yep.
Early ice rod.
Ice rod's one of those items that could be anywhere, so...
Yeah, it's nice to find right away, but that makes me feel like Turtle Rock's going to be where a troll item is going to be at this point. Or it'll be a pendant. Well, there's your hammer for Uncle.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to make the whole beginning of this very, very easy for our runners. Also, the 20 drop is pretty incredible for Mrzwanzig. I mean, that or bombs is all you want to see here.
Yeah, getting that nice, even a single bomb, but it's like when you see the 8 bomb drop like right in here, that's just lovely.
I think the number one thing I've been doing with the beginning of the game is just killing basically everything, looking for that bomb drop. It makes me think I'm playing the original game for the first time again, because I know ever since I started speedrunning this game, you just skip so many enemies.
Yeah, a lot of the time you just pretend they're not there. But yeah, I'm the same. I try to kill as much as I can until I get a bomb drop so I can get those 3 chests in the back. Looks like they're going the opposite though, not really killing anything other than what they're going to need to. Just a big 20 in that chest though, which will be nice. Money for Kakariko.
Yep. With the fact that either they're not trying to get a drop or they're just not getting a drop of bombs, they may need up to 150 to be able to do Kakariko.
Oh, Kid got a bomb drop off of the guard.
And then almost left Zelda.
Was thinking about the chests. Now we get to run Zelda all the way back and through the sewers.
Not too terribly much to talk about here, other than, like, I think despite Kid being a little bit behind, is actually kind of ahead. That bomb is going to save a lot of time, like about 15 seconds probably.
I mean, it might be more, because if not, they'll have to still drop through, and usually at that point it's a save and quit off of there too, so it's probably a little bit more than 15 seconds. But yeah, he's definitely ahead right now with the bomb drop.
I think the number one reason why I am a fan of Hammer over really anything else, even bombs, is this key rat coming up. Oh my goodness, this key rat is difficult with bombs.
Yeah, it's my least favorite key rat is bombs. I've I haven't really had too many problems other than with bombs. So now they have rupees for Kakariko no matter what. But it's a rough bomb.
And there we have in-game sound. Fantastic.
Kids gotta be a little bit careful. Got half a heart. Oh. Mrzwanzig. Oh, there's a death.
Yep. But Mrzwanzig has a bomb, so there goes Kid's lead.
Yeah, got a bomb off the last rat before coming back into the light. Couple pieces of heart I saw on the map. So the Sanctuary should have the last item in here.
Yeah, because we had to have seen the small key in order to get this far.
Yeah, small key was the very first chest, I believe.
I think you're right. Anyway, now the actual routing starts. Let's see where Mr. Mrzwanzig wants to go.
Oh, Pearl.
Pearl opens up some very interesting fake flippers opportunities a little bit later. If you don't know, or anyone in chat, the Pearl is required to be able to Jesus walk, which allows you to check the waterfall fairy.
$5 rupees for a triple.
It would have been a little bit more impressive if they hadn't literally just gotten a 300 rupee drop, but it's still good.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if it was 20s because they're getting really close to that Zora money. And with the Moon Pearl, that's even better if they fake flipper. And I thought I saw triple bombs on the Lumberjack ledge, so we won't need to get them unless it's for Dark World access.
I mean, we got the hammer and have already gotten Moon Pearl. We might get Dark World access here. We're going to get Dark World access right here.
Okay, Dark World access with 7 minutes in on a standard seat. Okay.
That's pretty fantastic. If you're these runners, you clear out Kakariko and then immediately go Dark World, right?
I don't know, because it's just like with the Pearl going, to Lake Hylia, getting Mini Moldorm Cave, the dam, and, fake flippering, you're looking at 10 total items there as well. So that's still a lot of items to kind of leave, not necessarily leave behind, but put off.
I don't know about you, but like how I save time doing these seeds is by going into dungeons literally as fast as I can. And being able to finish Thieves Town this early, especially since you're kind of pretty likely to get some kind of heart upgrade here, if not one or two, simply because we've already gotten 2 heart pieces, at least, if I'm counting correctly.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's still dangerous going into Dark. I mean, I'm sure they can do it, but 4 hearts in anywhere in Dark World, that's dangerous because you're looking at, depending on what it is, 1 or 2 hits, and without any safeties at all. Plus, blind would be a hammer blind as well right now.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone can do hammer blind. I'm not sure I can do hammer blind.
I thought I just saw the fire rod in Chicken Shack.
That's what that was. I mean, it's definitely not the ice rod, since they already have that. So we don't have to second guess ourselves this time, at least.
There's Cape.
One of those items you really don't want to see early because it implies Aghanim, But Aghanim is like dead at this point, right?
Yeah, with Hammer, their Aghanim's dead at this point. They can get everywhere.
Oh, and that fire rod opens up Skullwoods as well.
There's first sword upgrade.
Let me rephrase. That fire rod and that sword open up Skullwoods as well. The sword is required to be able to do Skullwoods, and I always forget about it.
Yeah, I've forgotten myself a couple times.
I think the only thing we're missing for a quote-unquote safe enter into Dark World is a bottle.
Yeah, they have the cape for a little bit of safety, but having a bottle to be able to refill life and magic would be nice. Or hold the fairy. Looks like Mrzwanzig is probably going Lake Hylia. Yep.
I mean, not a bad choice. He has over 500 rupees. He has not a lot of health, and a good way to lose a race, as I've definitely done before, is trying to do things that you're not equipped to do yet. Like, you got to know your limits.
Yeah, because like Skullwoods is completely open, but going after Mothula with 6 hearts, fighter's sword, no half magic, that would be a rough fight. It's a rough fight by itself anyways.
Absolutely. We're about to see what Kidofseph decides as well. Yep, definitely a good pickup of that heart piece for basically all the reasons we just said.
Yeah, or at least for me, it'd be a little bit too early to start skipping heart pieces until it's 7, 8 hearts, and then it's like, if I pull it out of a chest, but if it's somewhere else, probably skip it.
I think the big thing I'm waiting for to start skipping hearts is essentially the feeling that I'm going to need to be looking at a lot of places, which they don't really have here.
Well, they don't need to fake flipper anymore.
Nope.
And a master sword.
So we're a mirror away from Swamp Palace. We're a lift upgrade away from Ice Palace. We're medallions away from Todoroki. We're getting just a lot of items very, very early.
Yeah, medallion and then Kana Samaria as well. We would need.
Right.
Plus, either we would need lamp and flute too to get up there.
The dark room in for old man is one of the easier ones, especially if you have a sword.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most common dark rooms that most runners learn early too, just because of where it can get you to.
That one in Eastern Palace.
Yep. Won't need to go to the Lake Hylia Island today.
Nope. This is a very, very... Efficient's not the word. Thorough check that both of our runners are doing. I think it's pretty common to skip Ice Rod Cave, pretty common to hold off on Hobo for later. But I think neither of our runners want to miss anything for their first race.
I think the same, and it's like I've noticed with V29 as well that there seems to just be a little bit more in the overworld than there used to be. I've noticed I'm getting a lot of my major progression outside in first map check. I thought I saw Pendant Eastern and 5 and 6 in Hera and Desert.
That is a lot of information with just the Light World map check, actually. A lot more than I expected, I guess. It is a little interesting. Kidofseph got a full magic refill drop and did not take it.
That was interesting, especially with a completely empty bar like that.
That
Piece
looks
of
like, yeah, a piece of heart. They're at 9 hearts now? I mean...
Yeah, I believe there was a heart container in the Waterfall of Wishing, and then I think there were 2 in the mini Moldorm Cave. The 10 bomb drop from Zora.
So nothing super important from Zora. We're getting a Dark World entry to do Overworld, it looks like. Because as we just said, he can't really do any of the dungeons on this end.
No, probably go Hype Cave and then up to Pod, I guess? Check Pyramid.
He might do Pyramid into Catfish and then immediately go to Village of Outcasts. Like I said, these runners are doing very thorough checks of the overworld.
Nothing in Hype Cave, though. Just a bunch of rupees. Pod looks like it's the green, and we have Misery Myers blue.
Making it that much less likely that we're going to see a pod dip anytime soon.
And if they had the bow, it'd be one thing, because then you'd be looking at 6 items with the green pendant.
Well, yeah, but if they had the bow, I think they'd be at the point where they're looking at what items are left as opposed to what items they need.
Yeah. Got the Bloomerang off of Stump Kid.
I think ever since I realized that the boomerang can stun Gibdos, my respect for this item has gone through the roof.
Yes.
Heart piece from Digging Game. We're going to see a save and quit.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a little bit of interesting routing coming from Mrzwanzig, starting from Link's house, going to Dark World, and then going towards Digging Game.
I like it. What this means is that he's going to be able to go north to Skullwoods, and go south to Thieves Town, and then immediately go the north route for all of a Dark World to clear out all of that stuff. And if he hasn't found anything that allows him to enter another dungeon, he'll be able to end in pod, having checked basically everything. So, given that our runners are being very thorough with their routing, I do like the routing from Mr. Mrzwanzig.
Yeah, it was good routing. It's just I haven't seen that very often. Usually you see him go right into Village of Outcasts and then drop down south and go that way.
The only downside to this is if they get a mirror in either Skullwoods or Village of Outcasts area. Because that means Funsig's gonna miss out on south of Grove Ledge.
Oh, we got some boots.
And if Svansig doesn't check those boots prior to going into... Oh, it looks like he's going to. But if he didn't, that would have been kind of a big deal. There are a lot of very long, like, very runnable hallways in this dungeon.
Yes.
But he doesn't skip it, and it looks like he's probably going to be going into Thieves now. I do like doing Thieves prior to doing... What is that? Sorry,
That is the Dr. Light Ghost.
I've somehow seen Mega Man Sprite a bunch, but have never seen his bunny sprite. I do not know how that has happened.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite bunny sprites.
Anyway, as I was saying, I do like the dip into Thieves Town prior to going into Skullwoods, since they're going to be able to completely finish both of these dungeons. And Thieves Town is very much the easier dungeon to do.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Skullwoods by itself isn't that hard, it's just the bosses are just completely different worlds.
I think once you learn the fight, Blind is one of the easiest fights in the game.
Yes.
Whereas Mothula gets just infinitely harder the worse equipped you are for it.
Yeah, that's just a fight that one item can change that fight from a headache or a nightmare into not even close to as bad. I think we've only seen 2 of the items so far in Thieves Town.
Yeah, and they were both heart pieces, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
The only place that the small key for this can't be is on Blind, right? They've set it up so that it's impossible to have to like completely redip this area to get an item, right?
Yeah, I believe they have done that so far, because that would be kind of a nasty double dip. Oh, that's thing to get right before a blind.
Especially with the cape.
So yeah, so blind should have the last item.
Yep. Mrzwanzig realizing right at the last moment that he doesn't have a small key to get to that big chest item.
It's just so much muscle memory you're just used to. It's like, I don't have all the items yet. I need to go over here. Not even think. Got double blind fights. There's the cape for the safety.
And we have our first boss death into our first crystal.
And Mrzwanzig should be shortly behind.
Nothing super important here. However, it is.
Oh,
Oh! That magic drop from Kid doing wonders for him and putting him ahead of Mrzwanzig, because Mrzwanzig taking a death here.
yeah, he wanted to go to the cape, but saw his magic at the last second, like couldn't, and then took that laser beam. Couldn't give it another go though. It's just gonna be a little bit rougher. And Kid's gonna drop into Skullwoods.
Yeah, one thing about this fight is if you doing it doing it with bringing the maiden in here as opposed to knowing having to come back, it completely changes the fight.
Yep, and Zwan's going to say nope for right now and come back later.
Not a big deal if he's been counting. He knows that that last item is a compass, so he can pretty safely skip it for now.
Yep, and we did get Quake in Skullwoods, so that could be a big find.
I know that Quake is one of the medallion that runners tend to like the least, simply because if Quake is what's required to open Mire, you're not able to kill the pterodactyl with the medallion.
Yeah, those murder birds. Especially with green mail still. I think it's like 4 hearts of damage.
It's not a small number. Kidofseph doing vanilla strats, or intended strats, for...
Might not be completely comfortable with the bomb jump there.
It is a little weird that he didn't bonk to get back over here, but it's not that much of a time loss. That's
Gets a magic refill.
3 full magic drops for Kid without a single one get it happening for Mrzwanzig. That's kind of a big deal.
And there's some more magic. That fairy trolling Mrzwanzig. at a map, so the last item is going to be in the back.
There's our first full magic drop for Mrzwanzig.
I'm sure he's happy about that one.
Definitely. I was wondering if he was going to take the full magic under the pot in the side room up here, but it's infinitely less likely now that he got that drop. Taking a death here, he was only at 3 hearts, so it does make a lot of sense to do this.
Yeah, plus it teleports him back, so not really that much of a time loss, if at all, anyways.
Kid taking the time to kill these guys without using magic. I think that that's fine. It makes this room just safer. You really, really do not want to be grabbed by that hand simply because you're trying to deal with everything else in that room.
Yeah. It can be kind of a crazy room, and I know you want to conserve that magic, especially with the current loadout, to have as much magic as possible from Mothula. Side lamp.
Yep. That's what I saw too. That's gonna make, if Mrzwanzig goes into, looks like Mrzwanzig is just completely skipping Skullwoods for now. Which again, I mean, I completely understand this. Mothula is not a fight you want to do, really, ever. But certainly not a fight you want to do prior to having Tempered Sword if you're going to get Tempered Sword.
Yeah, I think that's one of the fights that everybody just wants to. Do you hope when you see pendants, you just hope to see Skullwood, so you never have to see that boss. And he gets another full magic drop.
These drops have been just incredible for Kid.
Saw some blue mail.
Yeah, but that requires Mirror to get, right?
Yes, it would. Oh, gets grabbed. Looks like Mrzwanzig's going back into Dark World.
I think he sees the writing on the wall. There's not really much overworld left. I think it's Pyramid and Catfish, and that's about it at this point.
I don't think any of them actually check Sahasrah's hut or Eastern Palace, though. I know Eastern's a pendant, but there's still 3 items in there that are available, could be available right from the beginning of the game.
I just realized both Eastern and Potter pendants. We could have the thing that I'm looking for.
Yeah, you could see that bow.
Bow in GT Big Test is possible.
Matthew's playing nice a little bit now. Or was playing nice.
You can't say that, man. This fight is awful.
He was for a little bit. He was staying off the spikes, but Probably. I'm guessing probably going to check the item here.
I mean, if this is an item, and I would immediately be leaving this dungeon.
Yeah, I would come back later with at least tempered, or if you find half magic, just pop right in here with half magic.
I went a little quiet there because I saw that the line fight was going well for Mrzwanzig, and I did not want to say a word.
No, I was going to leave that one alone. We have to get the runners even in some way. Although chat thinks Kid's going to win, so we have to give Kid as many curses as possible, apparently.
I mean, Kid's drops have been absolutely crazy.
Kid picks up his lamp.
I think Skullwoods might be required from what we're seeing. Wait, I know that they still have Eastern Palace and Pod and Sahasrarla to check, but depending on what this item is, it might be what opens up the rest of the world.
It could, because I mean, something especially like another gloves upgrade, because that would give him full Ice Palace access there. Or like a mirror would be a big one.
Bow obviously opens up, very much tells our runners where they need to be going.
Oh yeah, if I would be the runner, then I would see Bow. I'd probably immediately head for Pod and Eastern Palace at that point.
Without the mirror, do you do Pod first or Eastern Palace first?
I would do Pod first because it's green pendant without a mirror, because that way when you go to check Eastern Palace and Sahasrarla, assuming you don't find mirror in Pod, you don't have to double back there just for one item.
That does make a lot of sense.
Those murder dactyls.
Oh
Mrzwanzig
my
actually
goodness.
had a very nice fight against Mothula with Master Sword.
Yeah, just the positioning there was really fantastic.
Yeah. I think Kid's making the pod play now, though.
I already have forgotten what item dropped there.
That's right. Kid hasn't actually checked Hype Cave yet.
Not that there's nothing in here. Not that there's anything in here, rather.
Yeah, I think it was just a bunch of rupees and some bombs. Oh, there's a piece of art here. I don't see anything major marked on the tracker from Skullwoods, or from Mothra, so I don't think it was anything important. So we're going to get our Sahasrarla check.
Mrzwanzig choosing to do Eastern prior to doing...
Well, there's the half magic.
So they could have had half magic in Sphere 1, just... and had a much easier Mothula fight if they wanted.
And blind, because with cape and half magic, blind would have been a joke for both of them at that point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's find out what's in Eastern. 3 items in here.
So what we're looking for is either mirror or lift upgrade, because that opens up the 2 water dungeons.
Yeah, we did find powder though.
I mean, if I'm a runner, that's not what I want to be seeing here. I don't.
Because yeah, that opens magic back because they already have hammer.
As few fetch quests as possible.
So only got one more item then. Already in Eastern.
And since they have the lantern, they can rest assured that the back of this dungeon is in logic.
They might not even have to go to the back because there's the big key. They could find that last item in the big key chest.
Do you mean the big chest?
Oh yeah, the big chest.
Big key chest is in the back. That's
Yes.
all the items here.
So lamp wasn't even required.
Well, for this dungeon.
Yeah, for that dungeon.
So R&D meme, Aga's definitely not required. They can get everywhere they need to, without having to do Aga.
Aga was dead at like 7.5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, it was dead very quickly. Mrzwanzig, once again, when given the choice of going into a dungeon or doing overworld, chooses overworld. Seven Sins, they cannot do swamp because they don't have a mirror. Really, the only places they can go at this point are Pod and Catfish. And Pod has 5 more items than Catfish.
And then pod is also green pendant, so it's 6 items in pod, catfish, and then magic bat as well. For Mrzwanzig at least, because Kid didn't go into Eastern Palace. So high likelihood that we're going to see the progression inside of pod.
Looks like Kid is going back to Skullwoods to finish this off.
And the ultimate extortionist, Kiki, gets his money.
He got, not only did he get his money, but he got 10 extra money for medical costs. Because he took a hit on the way there.
Yeah, he took a spear to the back. Well, pod wouldn't have been bow locked.
I mean, if it was bow locked, progression has to be on Catfish. I think that's literally the only place left.
Also could be on magic bat still.
Right. I do love working in definites and being wrong.
Oh, I've done that before myself. Well, there's the bow. Your dream is shattered.
My dream, but the dream of our runners is not. I'm sure they're very happy to not see Bo and GT.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Mrzwanzig's going to go to the door without his key.
It's just muscle memory, man.
Oh yeah, I do that so many times. It's like usually you find so many keys right in the front because that's how this.
That's how this dungeon's supposed to work. It's supposed to be a mullet. Why aren't you as much of a mullet as you usually are?
Yeah, I would say we definitely had some party in the front with the bow there.
Yep. What does that make this cousin it? Just party everywhere. Another death on Mothula. I've heard at least one runner call Mothula the worst boss fight in any game. Period. Full stop. And I don't disagree with this.
I'm not going to disagree with that either, but Kid gets another full magic drop.
And he's conserving magic by using the lantern here.
So my question is, since you find the bow and pod, if you find all the items before Helmasaur King, do you still go kill Helmasaur King, or do you gamble that Sahasrahla has nothing?
That was a very close grab out of that. To being a grab out of that pit. But I think the answer to your question is no. The number of locations that could possibly have progression is getting lower and lower as we speak, essentially.
Mothula kill.
They're on a different levels on Mrzwanzig. Kid can catch up here by going to pod first, since we know that there's nothing in Eastern.
Maybe nothing in Eastern again. If that powder leads to magic, if the magic bat has something, then that powder was needed.
You're right. Very good that we did not get a vanilla big key. That I think was the one thing Mrzwanzig was hoping for, after having skipped that big key chest.
He did go back for that after he got the
Oh, he did?
keys from both.
That makes sense. I was a little preoccupied with the Mothula fight. That mirror gets us a blue mail. It gets us access to Hera. It gets us access to Death Mountain East.
Swamp.
That is a very good item for us here. So, based on how Mrzwanzig's been playing, do you think he's going to hold off on Death Mountain here, or hold off on Swamp? Which of these do you think he's going to do first?
I would have went to Swamp first, Because if you find something like Samaria in there, then you would have full access, or no, you wouldn't have access to Turtle Rock. We'd still need a lift upgrade, but you'd have less likelihood of having to go back there for something just like Turtle Rock later. In case something's in Turtle Rock and you'd have to be like a forced double dip or something. Actually, it would never be a forced double dip. So, yeah, I mean, I'd still go there so you wouldn't have to make another trip up here for just that, and we could just go right to Ganon's Tower, but...
That's fair. I think the big reason not to do Swamp right now is we can't actually full clear it, whereas we can full clear this dungeon.
This is true, we don't have Hookshot yet. It would be a gamble going to Swamp, but hey, we found the bow and pod, so...
I mean, how many vanilla locations could there be? I mean, statistically. The answer is pretty, like, a lot of them are statistically going to be vanilla.
And we get to go to the tile room. The first one.
And kid, if this pays off...
Oh!
And it does! Oh, but that is going to make him not check pod anytime soon and get that mirror.
Yeah, he'll be missing the bow and the mirror probably for a while, because with finding that gives you full access to Ice Palace. I would be willing to bet that's probably where he's going to go.
I wonder if Kid knows how to do all of Ice Palace without the hookshot, because I know it's not actually in logic to be able to finish Ice Palace without a hookshot.
Yeah, it's not in logic. I think there's, depending on how the keys are, but the back still, or the right side still isn't considered a key.
I know that I've at least once had to re-dip into Ice Palace because I didn't know that bomb jump. Not the bomb jump you're thinking of, the other one. Not the one that breaks the entire dungeon open, but the one that lets you skip the hookshot.
Yeah. Oh, Kid's actually going to go to pod anyways.
It's going to pay off depending on how much he does. Because that mirror was very late. And it is very possible that you see that bow and you assume that's all that the dungeon had to offer.
You do, but I mean, with just Mitts as progression so far, and I mean, like I said, it opens up Ice Palace, kind of. It's not a full clear still, so you might still check pod because of the fact you don't really have anything that's getting you anywhere full clear.
And there is Moldorm. Fantastic. So we're still a book away from finishing, being able to do Desert Palace.
Or Flute.
Or flute. I think we're far enough that we can start doing our PED watch to see what could possibly be on PED.
Well, we don't know the medallion for Turtle Rock yet, so it could be Bombos, Ether, Hookshot.
Hookshot is the big thing it could be. It can't be Kane because of Meyer, but I think Hookshot's the big thing that we're looking for PED.
Yeah, I think all we have on pedestal is Hookshot and the 2 medallions, because can't be Flute because we can't get to Meyer, which means if Book wouldn't be there, or even if Book's there, they'd have access to it via Flute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just those 3 right now. But yeah, as chat pointed out as well, Mrzwanzig did nope out of pod after picking up the mirror and left Helmasaur King behind.
It's possible he counted. I don't know necessarily if all the dungeon items were found, but if he saw that Helmasaur King definitely didn't have a item, I think the nope makes a lot of sense.
Except that Helmasaur has the green pendant. I haven't seen anything major so far in Death Mountain.
That was amazing from Kid.
Yeah, just take the drop and get over there anyways.
It is risky. It's very possible to just not get back in time, or for your bomb to go off at a different rate than you're expecting. Mrzwanzig checking the... So I was about to say the hardest to route, and that's wrong. This cave is really easy to route, but God, I hate going into this cave. I think you pass it like 4 times over the course of the game in any route that you go through.
Yeah, it's not terrible, the route, especially kind of how the seeds kind of played out and the items to go to Death Mountain, how he did it was probably the best way. Alright, well, Kid picks up his mirrors, getting the big chest. We'll see if he nopes out of the dungeon too.
I don't think it's processed that, oh, I have a mirror now.
Yeah, it might not. It's just walking out instead of mirroring, and then, I'm guessing at this point going to Helmasaur.
Very likely.
Unless there's an item in this room. No, that was a map. Okay.
Mrzwanzig. I'm not sure where he's going. Oh, he's doing the north route.
Yeah, with Mirror, that'll open up Graveyard. It's just he's missing the Titan's Mitts, which would be nice because it'd make it a little bit faster.
A little bit. Still doable, fortunately.
The main thing is, like, how long is he going to wait to go to Magic Bat to get those mitts now?
That's the big thing. The longer he waits, the more Kid can catch up.
Yep, 7 hookshot can be there, and potentially one of the medallions for Turtle Rock if Misery Mire doesn't need the same one.
That is a route out of there that I have never seen before, and it makes just so much sense.
Yeah.
I will definitely be incorporating that in my...
Ooh, bomb strats on Helmosaur.
I have no idea how many bombs it takes to kill Helmosaur. I know it takes 15 hammer strikes. That's completely wrong. 17 hammer strikes.
Doesn't look like there was that many bombs. And there's Helmosaur down. Okay, so that means Mrzwanzig actually either miscounted or left an item behind plus green pendant. So we got that red meringue.
I mean, it's not super important. The big question is, does Sahasrara have...
Yeah, if Sahasrara has something of value right now, that's huge. And since you got the mirror and pod, you can go right to Sahasrara and check. Nothing of value, though. Interesting thing with Kid having mitts is he's got all of Death Mountain except Hookshot Cave, or 3 items in Hookshot Cave. Could potentially, because I don't think there was anything of value in the light side Death Mountain, but there could be in dark side. Plus, he's will more than likely get the knowledge of Turtle Rock Pendant or Medallion.
I think Mrzwanzig might be dipping into Skull Woods now, without having ever checked Magic Bat.
You mean Swamp?
That, yes, Swamp. I mix up Skull Woods and Swamp. I don't know why, they're completely different. They just start with S.
Misery Mire does not require Hookshot and Logic. You either need the Medallion, Hook, or Boots to get into it, and then the Cane of Samaria to finish. And then, yes, to get to it, you also need Flute and Mitts.
Flute and Mitts, yeah.
Not going to try for the coffee break.
Neither of our runners did, it looks like. Okay, Kane puts Turtle Rock in Logic now.
Assuming it's Quake.
Assuming it's Quake, yeah.
Because, yeah, if Turtle Rock is Quake, then we are Hookshot and Canis and Maria, plus either book or flute away from go mode.
They have Kidofseph Maria. That's what they just got.
Oh, I didn't see the Canis Maria drop in Swamp.
That was the very first item. That's why I brought up Turtle Rock.
Could be a forced double dip in a swamp then.
If Hookshot is in Turtle Rock, very, very likely.
Yeah, or even Misery Mire.
Right.
If
It would have
ends
to be
up
at
being
the
on, yeah, it'd have to be on Vitreous.
on Vitreous, yeah. You need a small key to do that, man. You get, I think, so used to already having Hookshot when you go in here that, again, muscle memory gets to you.
Yeah, I guess the one nice thing about not having Hookshot coming in here is it's impossible to actually flood the key.
Which is nice. I had gone so long without flooding the key and then did it again a few weeks ago. Feels so
Yeah,
bad when you do that.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple runs that were going really well, and it's like it's not a huge time loss, but it's just like I'm just running. I'm like, oh, I need to open this up. I was like, why do I feel like I did something wrong? It's like I just flooded the key. Troll Dorm is gonna do what he needs to.
At least he's not go back to the beginning of the dungeon.
Yes,
Like
that would be
Mothula is.
One thing interesting with the runners that I noticed is both of them decided to do Master Sword spins instead of Hammer.
Yeah, they
to
do
try
this.
to avoid that last phase of Moldorn.
Yeah, they do the same amount of damage, but Hammer, you get the upside of definitely only needing 3 swipes and never having accidentally like poked Moldorm, but the downside that you can't have your sword out, so you don't get the chance to not fall down. I do think sword swap traps are a better idea in our runners' cases.
So we just had Samaria and Swamp then.
Mrzwanzig is going to check Agina before checking Batman. He might not even remember that he has powder.
That would be a huge thing. Because that's really has Kid in the lead right now. Sure, we'll probably get a Turtle Rock check after Paradox.
I think Mrzwanzig might be checking Sahasrahla now. Which is very good news for Kid. But I mean that what I mean by that is finishing pod and then going to Sahasrahla.
Yeah, I almost want to say he's forgotten about Powder then, because it's like you already were in pod and you noped out of it, gambling that, you know, there's nothing. Helmut Sword doesn't have anything when you still have 1 item there, plus Green Pendant, so he's worth 2. You already had the mirror, so you could have just left right away and dropped the pendant off at Sahasrahla. It's like it, I guess, in leaving the magic bat alone when you could have checked that.
This is definitely not over.
No, because especially with Samaria in Swamp, Kid might try to look other places for hookshot before even trying to go into Swamp. And that would let Mrzwanzig catch up if he goes to check Bat. But we've got Bombos for Turtle Rock.
Yep. So can't even open it yet.
Getting trolled by the jellyfish. Nothing accessible in hookshot yet.
No hookshot in Hookshot Cave. I have seen hookshot in Hookshot Cave way more often than I expected to.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I've had it happen to me like 3 times. That's just like... Well, there's a flute.
I think the later the game is, and the more pendenty Meyer is, the less you actually want to see flute.
Yeah, I was about to ask, like, what's the last item you actually want to see right now as a runner? Because I wouldn't want to see flute, because that's going to point me right into Misery Mire. And then the flute shows up.
I think flute makes pedestal much higher likelihood.
Yeah, it does, but it also does give access to Desert Palace too. And we have the Swag Duck National Anthem.
Ped can be either Bombos or Hookshot for required pedestal. I think those are the only things that we have left that it could be.
Yes. It could technically be silver arrows, which logically you would need them to kill.
And it's actually better for Mrzwanzig if pedestal is required, because he would have needed to go back and kill this boss anyway. Oh, that's unfortunate. He misses the block disappearing glitch.
Yeah, and Mire was Ether, so they can't even get into the Mire yet either. An interesting thing with Desert Palace being available, though, is that is the other crystal for 5 and 6, so they would have access to Fat Fairy when they finish that. There's Bombos. So now Turtle Rock is on the table.
I do like going Desert Palace before Ice Palace, and then finally going into Turtle Rock.
Oh yeah, it's definitely the better play, I feel, especially with it being a 5 and 6 crystal. You can check Fat Fairy before even going into Ice Palace, because you'll be in that area anyways.
Mrzwanzig finally getting his mitts. We might be getting a reaction out of him here.
I'm kind of expecting to see some swipes or a bomb or two. But nothing.
I think he's just sort of dumbfounded by this.
I mean, it's probably that, and you think that's okay. I've had powder since Eastern, which was available right away. It's like, are you feeling behind at this point? If you are, it's like, how fast do I need to go now?
Goes directly into Ice Palace, which, I mean, depending on what's here, could be really big or...
I mean, if hookshot's in here, that would be a fairly large thing, because there's really not many more places that Mrzwanzig can go outside of Death Mountain.
Whereas Kid has all of Turtle Rock open to him.
Yep. Except missing Samaria.
Right. However, doing this very much encourages him to do Swamp Palace. Because Swamp Palace has Fat Fairy much more on its way than Ice Palace does. That small key allows our runners to do this dungeon without having to do that bomb jump to get past Hookshot.
It's a pretty clean kill for the Landmolas.
Yep. Very good job from Kid.
About to see what's in Checkerboard Cave.
Probably check Agina while he's down here as well.
We'll get the bomb jump. That looks good to me. Yep. Kind of where we're slowing down and we're going through the dungeons. Make sure to give both these runners a follow. They've been putting on a pretty good race so far.
Absolutely. Where's Kid headed? This is, like, I was sort of expecting him to go one of two places, and he has chosen a third.
I'm trying to think, does he forget something or where?
He has,
He's checking
mitts.
blacksmiths.
Yeah, so he can
Blacksmiths
check
and purple
blacksmiths.
chest. Oh yeah, and hammer pegs as well.
Yep. I'm a little surprised he didn't pick up the blacksmith before doing hammer pegs, but... Is that our first bottle?
That is actually our first bottle.
Mrzwanzig smartly not going down the right hole because he remembered, while I did not, that he does not have a hook shot to be able to get over there.
So I wonder if Kid is going to realize that was first bottle, and while he's in the Kakariko area, mirror to Sick Kid. We have our cold stare fight.
I just realized that Mrzwanzig does not have the bombos, so he could not have done that any easier.
Nope, not yet. Should have this fight in hand now.
Man, this fight can turn on a dime.
It can. Cold stare hits like a truck, even with blue mail. But he gets it down.
Yep. So he needs to go Dark Death Mountain to be able to get to Desert Palace at this point. And
Yep.
again,
He needs to go to... because that's where he'll get Flute, which will lead to Bombos.
yeah. That does not seem to be what he's doing. I'm not super sure where he's going at this point. Oh, he's gonna do the same route around that Kid is doing. It looks like Kid did forget Sick Kid, which is a little ironic, but
I mean, when you don't get your first bottle until like 1 hour and 20 minutes into the siege, you really don't, not even thinking about Sick Kid anymore, but maybe he's hiding the hook shot in his bed.
he very well could be.
We'll see if Mrzwanzig forgets as well, or if he remembers, because he's about to get his first bottle too. We're going to see what Fat Fairy has. Now, if you're a kid, you want to see the hook shot here because that'll lead him right to Swamp. We get a mushroom instead. I think Mrzwanzig is going to remember the Sick Kid.
Yeah, it is faster for him to get Sick Kid, grab the chest, and then save and quit, because he's already done all of South Hyrule.
Sick Kid just giving his heart away, though. Mushroom didn't lead to anything.
So Kid needs to go into Swamp Palace, and Mrzwanzig needs to go to Death Mountain, and that's all we're waiting on. Really?
Yeah, that's where they're both kind of stuck at progression-wise right now. I think we're getting our first catfish check though too.
Oh no, Mrzwanzig went here earlier, if I
did he?
recall correctly. Yeah.
Looks like Mrzwanzig is actually going where he needs to go though. Flute is in the Super Bunny Cave.
Kid is going to go ahead and do Ice Palace, which, you know, makes sense.
Yeah, it's not a bad play at all. It's a dungeon. You pretty much have access to it all, especially with the key being the way it is, but it's a pendant, or not pendant, it's a crystal, you need it, so might as well clear it. Zora had the 10 bomb drop.
I do like this routing from Mrzwanzig. He's if this happened to be Quake, he would have been able to open that while he was here.
No, book has not been seen yet, and right now it is looking like you have to just dip in a swamp to clear, or to get to T-Rock, because we still don't know where Hookshot is, and Hookshot's doesn't really have that many places left it can be. So I think it's like Turtle Rock, Misery Mire, we find Ether inside Turtle Rock, and Pedestal.
Yeah, all they need is Hookshot. Hovering, not super useful here.
Hovering would just be for the swag.
That's what it usually is for anyway.
Unless you're Andy.
Or running low percent.
Or that. Mrzwanzig's gonna get his swag duck, and I would guess he's probably gonna go right to my area. Kid making full use of that half magic in his medallions.
Yeah, that might be faster than the double bomb strat.
If not, they've got to be very close in time.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Swan is going to head right up back Death Mountain as soon as they find Bombos. And clear Desert Palace.
So without hookshot, we're gonna get the slow route around the 4 lantern cave in Turtle Rock, very likely.
We'll see if the runners remember that they have to do that. That muscle memory might kick in again.
Definitely.
Yeah, right now, I know chat just brought it up, as I believe Mrzwanzig would be slightly ahead because they already have access to Turtle Rock. Kid's going to need to make a play into Swamp Palace to get the Cane of Samaria. Because I don't really think there's anywhere else for them to check.
And that will be a play because I think that's a required double dip into swamp.
Yes, I'm trying to think of any areas that we might have missed that, you know, the runners just haven't checked, but I don't think there is any right now.
And basically all the areas that are left do require that cane to be able to do.
Or the hook shot that they need.
Right.
Kobe won, they both checked Magic Bat. Magic Bat actually had mitts. No, Graveyard Ledge has been checked. I think the only places we haven't really checked so far are Turtle Rock. It could be Pedestal, but they would still need to get Ether to get into Misery Mire.
Very clean fight from Mrzwanzig, and we're about to see Kid get into Cold Stare. Let's see how this goes.
You know, he'll have a bit more magic for Fire Rod shots.
Yeah, solely because of this Bombos. Very fast.
Clean fight, especially with Master Sword.
So I wonder how comfortable these runners are with Master Sword Ganon. Or even Master Sword Silverless Ganon.
Yeah, because we don't have silvers and we haven't seen them or a weapon upgrade yet. Only thing that I'd lean against, because we've checked so many locations right now, is more than likely they'll probably check the chest on the way up to Ganon if we haven't found one by then. And, you know, depending on where that big key is in Ganon's Tower, we might end up finding some of that there.
I'm not wishing Master Sword Silverless onto these runners. It's just a thing that is possible at this point. I think it's highly unlikely that they're not going to get either of those. Either a sword upgrade or silvers, simply because I think the only places they will not have checked, assuming Hookshot is in Turtle Rock, will be those 2 chests in Misery Mire.
Yeah, because I would guess Well, maybe not. They might not check Hookshot Cave for those last 3 chests there as well.
It is on the way, though.
It is, but I mean, they might still skip it. But I mean, if you're missing, if you're on only Master Sword with no silvers, yeah, I would take the time to go in there and check 3 chests.
Let's see how muscle memory works with Mrzwanzig. Nope.
Yep. Oh, realize it
Realized
right away though.
immediately,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, but there are 6 items here, so we have a high likelihood of finding something. Whether or not it's the hookshot, though. So if it's not hookshot here, I think at that point we've got pedestal seed. Which means we'll more than likely find ether here, or something that gets us to ether.
I think the only fetch quest item left is the book. That is not what these runners wanted to see. There's the ether.
Yep, there's Misery Mire.
Mrzwanzig almost using that green potion.
Looks like Kid's gonna be right behind him in a Turtle Rock.
He can't go into Turtle Rock. He doesn't have the.
Oh yeah, he still doesn't have Samaria. What is he coming?
Has he checked Spike Cave yet?
I guess he's got to be checking Spike Cave. He must be checking every area first for something like Samaria or Hookshot before going into Swamp.
I mean, Swamp is not something you want to be doing without Hookshot.
No, it's a huge gamble, and that's kind of where the difference right now in the race is that gamble into Swamp without Hookshot, and that gave us, you know, didn't find the Hookshot there, but found something it looks like we're going to need, because it definitely looks like Swamp was a forced double dip.
I honestly don't know where Hookshot could have been where that would have made Swamp not a forced double dip here.
It could have been on, well, I mean, there were a couple areas I think they hadn't checked at the time. Like, I don't think anybody had checked Catfish before we went into Swamp Palace for the first time. But there weren't really many areas that we wouldn't have seen. Well, Kid's going where he needs to.
This is a forced double dip, and yeah, that's bad. But it could have been worse. Based on where Kane was, Hammer could have technically been behind it.
Yep, there's his Kid's Kane.
And Kid clearing out left side, which, I mean, makes sense. If Hookshot were in here, it would make a lot more sense to do this before doing Turtle Rock.
Yeah, because right now it's like you're paying attention. You know you're one item away from go mode, you're going to check every chest. You're not going to skip anything, especially if you're in the dungeon where you need the item. I think we just have Laser Bridge and Trinex left for items.
And we know that one of the items on Laser Bridge is definitely a key. I vaguely remember seeing the map already being grabbed.
Yeah, I think I've seen map and compass already.
So we have 4 items left?
I believe so. We should probably find out. Yeah, there's map and compass on the item. There's the key.
Nothing. Nothing on Laser Bridge at all.
Which means Trinex has the last item.
No, one of the first items they found in here was ether. So yeah, Trinex has the last item, but we already knew that.
Yeah, but that's... If you want pedestal seat at this point, you do not want to see Trinex with anything good.
So let's hope for our runners that Trinex has that hookshot.
Guess the question is, if Trinex does not have the hookshot, do you immediately go to Misery Mire and hope the hookshot's there, or do you just go to Eastern Palace, assuming this is pedestal seat now?
I mean, you gotta do Mire anyway, and you save time by doing... you would save time if this is a pedestal seed, but you will lose time if it's not, essentially. And you'll lose a lot of time because you'll be forced to do a double dip into Mire. Because if you assume it's a pedestal seed, there's a chance you don't go mode Mire.
Oh, Mrzwanzig's got to watch his magic. Okay. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. I don't know if he checked. Or if he... I don't think he did the safety door.
Nope, he did not. So he has a long walk back.
Yeah, and he can't get across.
Because he doesn't have the hookshot. Wow.
So that was an interesting way he decided to fight us. I know he had the green potion, but he decided to just rod spam the ice head. And then try to do the same thing for the fire head.
I don't know that I know that the ice rod does less damage than the fire rod does. I'm not even sure the ice rod does damage at all. It's a strat that really you can only do if you have half magic.
Yeah, I've seen the strat on Ice Head to just spam the fire rod, but I've never seen that on the fire head. I usually, if you don't have tempered, I usually just see a switch, item switch. I'm reading chat, we had a forfeit by Mrzwanzig.
That is unfortunate. Anyway, let's see how this goes for Kid. Yeah, Kid still does have to finish in order to win this race.
Yes.
The Kid does the exact same thing Mrzwanzig does.
Triple factorial, there is unforfeiting in the tournament, but due to the fact that he came into a chat, even if he would unforfeit, he would technically be disqualified from the race at that point. Vicarian, what Swiss basically means is since this is first round, everybody is 0-0. What's going to happen after this week, half the runners are going to be 1-0, half the runners will be 0-1. You'll be matched up with somebody with the exact same record every week. And basically the way the tournament goes, we need to get down to 128 players. 12 of those players are coming from pre-qualifies from last year's fall tournament and the fall secondary tournament. It's the top 8 from the primary tournament and the top 4 from the secondary tournament. Everybody that is 5-2 or better is going to advance to the bracket stage. Yeah, there's a lot going on behind the scenes to make this tournament run, especially with 512 players in it. So I know if there's any admins in chat, definitely go ahead. I'm giving shout out to the admins right now for everything that they're doing to keep this running. And chat, you should do the same.
Yeah, this is absolutely not an easy thing to do.
There's a schedule I just got linked in chat. There's only going to be a schedule up until this Sunday for right now, and there might be races added because I don't think everybody's actually has their race scheduled. But for the next 7 weeks, there are going to be 256 races. Not all of them are going to be restreamed. That would just be a feat on its own. That's incredible if that would happen. But for at least 7 weeks, we'll have 256 races. Once Sunday finishes, that's when we'll start getting schedules for the next week because people need to know who their opponents are. But we can't do that until everybody has their races finished for the week.
I do wish that we could stream them all, but what it comes down to is there's just not enough restream channels to stream everything.
That and restreamers, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Every race, every actual player will be streaming because you have to. It's in the tournament rules. You do have to actually stream your race. So even if the race isn't being restreamed like this with commentary, if it's a race you really want to watch, you could do something like multi-twitch between the two runners. It might not be completely synced, but you would still be able to technically watch the race at that point.
We have Mr. Mrzwanzig in here. How are you doing, man?
I feel like a bit of an idiot. No, that's actually really funny.
It's a cautionary tale to just don't form it fit until your opponent's finished.
See, the funny thing is, I didn't think he would have finished yet, just because of the seed did end up pretty trolly, and I made a lot of big mistakes. You know, that's going through it from the start. I'm sure you guys noticed like how stupid early our Dark World access was.
Yes.
Yep, 7.5 minutes.
Yeah, that was absolutely stupid, and you know, I say to myself at that point, just play it normally, get better equipment, because you know you're just gonna get destroyed in Dark World if you head immediately into it. And then, before Kakariko is even over, I find the fire rod, and my heart just sinks the minute I see that fire rod.
I assume because you know that you're going to need to do Mothula early.
Yeah, that was pretty much like, I have an untold amount of hatred for Mothula. And the minute I see that fire rod, I'm just like, oh, please no. Funnily enough, the thing that killed me was not Mothula, but Blind. And that kind of made me feel like I was behind early on. Like, even though I went and did pretty much all of the normal stuff that I was able to do in Light World before going there, I still died to Blind.
So if I recall correctly, Kid actually did Mothula first.
What a hero.
And was dying to Mothula while you were dying to Blind.
Yeah, you had opposite problems. He had a lot of problems with Mothula. I think he took 2 deaths and then noped out of Skull Woods and came back with more gear, and he didn't have problems with Blind, and then you had no problems at all with Mothula, but then you had the death on Blind.
It was positively silly that when I ultimately did end up going to Mothula, he just immediately moved down and stayed down the entire fight, and it was completely free.
He was very nice to you. You did have very good movements at the very beginning of the fight, though.
Yeah, it's I don't know, stuff just kind of went pretty well. If there's 2 things that went well for me in this seed, it was Mothula and Cold Stare, because Cold Stare was another fight where I went into it with like half health and no potions, and just thinking, oh, I'm gonna die, aren't I? But then that went pretty well. I mean, half magic absolutely saved my bacon there, of course.
Yeah, half magic's always a nice thing to have going into Cold Stare.
And yeah, not finding any bottles practically until like, I don't know, like 20 minutes ago or something almost.
Yeah, I think the first bottle we saw on stream was 1 hour, about like 1 hour 20 minutes, and I think
1 hour 20 minutes.
Was, I think Kid got it like a minute before you.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of a horror scenario for me pretty early on because of that. But I did know that my opponent was also like not the most experienced runner, so I did expect him to also have some amount of issues. But then, so I felt like maybe I wasn't totally out of it. But then what really kind of tilted me a fair bit was the fact that let's see. So I go into pod. I find a couple of useful items, and I nope out of there, realizing like as I'm heading toward him, oh, it's pendant. I can just skip this. Then I go do everything else, and all this while I completely forget to mark off the powder that I got on my tracker.
We thought that might have been what happened. Actually.
Yeah, absolutely. That's. I would have routed that in when I was doing other stuff in the overworld near it if I'd remembered that I had it. So that's why I then ended up, going back into pod, finishing that off, and being very confused for a few seconds after handing him that green pendant and just being like, "Oh, right."
Yeah, no, that was kind of the item we were waiting on you to kind of open everything up, and then the reason why you were mainly ahead is your Swamp Palace gamble. Going in there and finding Kane of Samaria, and Kid basically checked everywhere he physically could without going into Swamp Palace, because I'm guessing he was probably looking for Hookshot, and not finding it, and not finding Samaria until so late. Like, you were already halfway through Turtle Rock before you even had Samaria. He was like on his way up to Turtle Rock as you were fighting Trinix the first time, I believe.
Yeah, but because of all the things that went wrong, I just had a strong feeling that I would have been way behind. Even though, like, in the fact that I did find that cane in Swamp, that sort of did make me feel better about the mistakes earlier.
But that just like, just because you're not having the best race of your life doesn't mean your opponent's having a perfect one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty well known in the community where I usually do speedruns. I'm pretty well known for being a very hard resetter. And people always make fun of me for it, and at this point, by the way, congrats to Seth for finishing off Trinix.
Yeah. It was a nail biter, absolutely. Very, very good.
It was rough. But yeah, I'm sure I'm not going to hear the end of this one for a little while, and that's totally deserved. I think it's hilarious.
You 100% should not hear the end of this anytime soon.
Oh man. Out of curiosity though, if you guys know, where should I have gotten magic from at that point?
So what you can do is go into the double pokey room, and there's magic in the bottom left pot.
No, that's out.
The
I
one
was
you
checking
check.
there, but then I kept dying. Yeah. Oh, there actually was in there. Interesting, man. if I'd known that, I probably would have kept him. Oh man, but yeah, I just got hella tilted.
We could tell, yeah.
Oh man, so let's see. This seed did really end up making us go all over the place. So has Kit basically checked everything but Meyer at this point then?
Yeah. It's so we're either gonna fight if Hookshot's not here, it's a pedestal seed. We know that pretty much at this point.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't have that much left. So there was like I've left 2 chests behind in a couple of dungeons because again, making gambles because I felt behind. Yeah,
I know you left I think one in Ice Palace behind, which ended up being King of Burna.
Oh, interesting.
That was in the iced tea room, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain there was an item in the big chest in desert, which also left. Again,
which
just feeling.
Also was not Hookshot, in case.
Yeah, that's the only important thing. But yeah.
Kid going into the dead fish room, which I have not seen this room in years.
Yeah.
I also haven't seen this in ages. I mean, I say in ages. My first casual playthrough was like 8 months ago, but.
Well, that being the case, you've gotten really good very quickly at this game.
I don't know. I did feel like there was a lot of execution errors in my play today. But I guess it wasn't too bad, and there were a couple of things that did go well. I don't know. Maybe I'm a bit harder on myself than I should be. But...
Yeah, like there was a few execution errors, but there were also a few places where your execution was very, very good. Like you're saying Mothula was particularly nice to you. Mothula isn't nice. I'm just gonna say that's not a thing that boss is ever. The fact that you had a good pattern doesn't mean that.
It's funny. I don't know if you guys read the little survey thing they put out, but I think I pretty much put in there that that I hate Mothula and that I don't want to see the fire rod early ever because of it making that a likelihood.
Yeah, it's something we were talking about before we actually started. It's like, what items do we, like? Do we not like seeing at especially at Uncle? Like, what weapon do you not want? It's like, I love seeing the bow right away because you can go right to Eastern even without the lamp because most people know all the dark rooms. But then it's like, I hate seeing the fire rod because it's like, hey, you can go to all of Skull Woods when you get Dark World access.
Looks like Kid is gonna go ahead and just full clear this.
Yeah, probably looking for, I would guess, at this point, looking for Sword or Silvers, so it's not Master Sword Silverless, especially with one bottle.
Even so, I mean, I would rather do Master Sword Silverless than have to do Biddy with just Master Sword and no silvers. But that's just me.
Yeah,
I really am not a fan of Biddy.
It's not a fun time. I've not had that much experience with doing Biddy with bad equipment, so that surely wouldn't have been a good time for me either.
Yeah, he noped out of Misery Mire after checking it. So I think Viddy does have the last item, but he's just skipping it.
Oh wow, it's not required under any circumstances.
I mean, logically, silvers are required, but it's like you don't need them to beat the game.
And skipping Viddy, all you're doing is making a bet that silvers and both the sword upgrades are not on pedestal and specifically on that boss.
Or tablets.
Right.
There's a high likelihood that there's at least one of those three items are in GT. It's just, are you going to find them, depending on where the big key is.
I mean, if you were about to do Vitruvius to finish, to get a item upgrade, I think it's probably a better gamble just to full clear Ganon's Tower.
Yeah. There are quite a few items left in Swamp 2, I think. I think there's 3 or 4 of the items, maybe?
There's 4 chests. I don't know how many items there are. I do know that they got Big Key relatively early, if I'm just not completely misremembering everything.
Nope, he doesn't have Big Key yet. Compass and Big Key are the dungeon items that are still around.
Okay, yeah, I'm wrong. But there's that means there's 3 items left.
I mean, I think at this point the only way that both sword upgrades and silvers are not in Ganon's tower is they have to either be in hookshot cable, which they'll run by anyways, and more than likely check it, or they're on pedestal, and they'd have to be pedestal and tablets for all 3 items.
Yeah. This stairway is just a little bit glitched. I don't know why.
It's so silly.
You're talking
don't
about
know.
This is a great programmed game.
Yeah,
It
so
doesn't
this
have any
game
glitches
has-
at all.
It is the best programming. Look at all the wonderful programming in this game.
it definitely seems like Kid doesn't want to do Master Sword Silverless Ganon.
Well, I know I've been seeing in chat they're not sure if he actually knows Silverless Ganon at all.
It looks like Kid does not want to do
could-
Master
could-
Sword Argus, to be honest.
I mean, how to get good at item menuing?
I always do it with the spin strats.
That's fair. But then how will you know really, really well what items you have?
I mean, the only item we're missing in the item menu right now is book. And 3 bottles.
And 3 bottles. Yeah.
The bottles, man. So this really wouldn't have been all that bad if at least we got some bottles.
I'm mentally prepared for Kid ending the seed with 4 bottles, gold sword, and just everything. Just all.
Let's
for
just
PT.
let's just highlight everything except the 2 pendant dungeons that didn't get cleared out. And a Ganon.
I mean, he may as well at this point. All he has to do is finish and he wins, right?
I mean, that's how it works. I mean, it's as we were talking about. If you had forfeit, stop for a second, gained your composure,
Yeah.
and gone back in and unforfeit, you'd been fine. But joining the chat,
No, yeah, that's. I mean, that's. There's no coming back from that, and that's fair.
Right,
yeah,
so
Master
that's
Sword Silverless is 24 hits.
yeah. But that's all 7 crystals.
Nice.
You know what time that means it is, D2?
It's time for the Ganon's Tower game. So our big key can be in one of 22 places. Where is it going to be, chat?
I'm gonna say it's the first chest, just so he has absolutely no room to go pick up more equipment unless he wants to actually spend time doing it.
You are mean. I'm going to guess 17 because that is always what I say.
I'm gonna guess 7 because that's what I always guess.
If you're in Kid's position and you really don't want to have to do Master Sword Silverless Ganon, do you go directly to Tile Room and just start by doing that?
I would still skip Tile Room.
I'm a little surprised. He knows the like disappearing block trick. But I'm a little surprised he didn't do that as opposed to going up and down the first time.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. But yeah, rocking right by a nice quick check of 3 chests. The mirror shield. So we found all 3 shields before we found a tempered sword.
So Mrzwanzig, is your main language German?
No, it is not. You can be forgiven for thinking that, although I did specifically. I was like, I'm glad they put this survey out so that the commentators know I'm not German, but no, I'm from the Netherlands.
Yeah, I saw that in the survey.
Well, we don't speak German here.
You speak Dutch?
Yeah, that's a language. It's similar to German in a lot of ways, but but the name is just because I think I just find it an amusing word. That's that's the only reason for it. But it always makes people think I'm German. Hey, it sounds silly. Apparently they didn't know it was a language. Don't look at me. You know, I will back you up on that. Dutch isn't a real language. That's
completely fair. Only Pennsylvania Dutch.
That would be 7.
That is 7, and Kid does not care. He wants better equipment, and I do not blame him.
Oh man. I'm if anything, I'm just sad now that I quit because I kind of want to know how I would have done in like the rest of this with the still relatively limited equipment, because I can tell you for a fact I would not have gone if I was at GT at this point and I hadn't quit and I find the big key there, I'm not going looking for more equipment. No way, because again I thought I was so behind.
I assume Kid knows that you forfeit, so
yeah. Well, that's the thing. I wouldn't have known because the speed racing TV layout, it's pretty big, and I don't have that much real estate on my laptop screen, which is all taken up by the game and the and my tracker, and the part of the layout that from speed racing TV that I actually need, which is the start button and the forfeit button.
Yep. And the forfeit button, of course.
But yeah, so I wouldn't have seen a message if he forfeited, or if he finished, for that matter.
Well, we got tempers, so now he's just looking for silvers, I'm guessing. Guess we should have played the game Guess Where the Silvers Are instead of the big key.
I mean, do they have to be in GT at this point? You checked Hookshot Cave, right?
Yeah, you checked Hookshot Cave. They could be on pedestal. They could be behind book. I think that's about it.
Has he found the book?
And they could be on Vidi.
Oh yeah, they could also be on Vidi.
Yeah, okay. What's a good beer? I mean, I'm not much of a beer aficionado, but the one thing I can tell you, just based on majority opinion of the people in my country, is that Heineken is absolutely terrible, even though it's the one Dutch beer that's internationally well known. Everybody here thinks it's absolutely awful. I've never met a single person who likes Heineken. I know you asked for which was a good one, and I told you a bad one, so, yeah, I'm sorry.
There's our silvers.
There's our silvers.
Nice.
So now it's time to enter the gauntlet.
So with the knowledge that the silvers are in Ganon's tower, if Kid had done this, depending on how good you are with Master Sword Silverless, he could have made up some time here.
I mean,
How much have you practiced that?
Not that much. I mean, I've practiced Silverless a fair bit, but with Master Sword, it definitely turns into a different ballgame, and with only one bottle still, I think.
Yeah, we still have not seen any of the other 3 bottles yet.
Would have been rough. Would have been rough, not gonna lie.
And the likelihood that we will see another bottle is going downhill fast. I think if I'm Kid at this point, you just skip everything else in this dungeon.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be checking the chests now at this point, because it's like you got tempered, you have silvers. It's like you've been hunting for silvers. I mean, the most you're looking for at this point is a butter sword, but
Very nice arrow shots there.
yep.
I feel like the only reason he validation chests at this point is because he knows he's being streamed.
Pedestal could be a bottle. It is a pretty good chance.
Yeah. That was a very clean gauntlet from
Yep.
Kid.
It was.
That was a 3 cycle? That's not awful.
No.
Planeswalker. Reasons you would open the validation chest. Silver arrows could be in there. Your last sword could be in there. And that's basically it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason you would if you're still hunting for silvers or another sword upgrade.
I
And
think I had a seed the other day where there was a blue potion in there, and I didn't have any potions at the time. So that was amusing. But mostly you open it for the meme. Do people still do that? I don't know.
I mean, someday memes will die, right? No. Memes
Not as long as the internet exists.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am all for letting that meme die.
takes a fall to troll door.
I don't think I remember the last time I didn't have a fall to Moldorm. At least one of the two in one of my runs. Today was no different.
Anyway, it's basically all over. All we have left is beating the big queen, the fat lady, Ganon herself.
And don't forget Aga too.
Right. Yeah, no one likes geometry though.
We're not going to get swag strats though.
It's a triple and then a double, I think. Oh no, it was double.
Yeah,
double.
Yeah, I think the first one there, two of them were a little bit too quick. So then it goes 2022.
Yeah, 2022. Still pretty good. I got 2.
Now it's time to fight the big pig himself. Using some Cane of Burna.
I do prefer Cape here, since it doesn't lag the screen like Burna does.
Yes.
This is a well-made video game.
Yes.
Has
Remember-
to be careful though.
Remember, more sprites is fine. You can put as many sprites as you want in your games.
Kiss the torch glitch. Now we just need 3 arrows to Ganon.
Sets
I
up
get
a
a
double
double.
here. Very good. Oh, just didn't take it, apparently.
And GG.
GG. Good man.
And he finishes with a time of 2 hours, 24 minutes, and 53 seconds.
I imagine he's probably very confused right about now.
Hi, Kidofseph. How you doing? That's actually bring him in here before asking him how he's doing. How are you doing, kid?
Oh my god. Did you guys custom make that seed just for me?
It was not nice. It was not a nice seed.
I kept thinking, where is this hook shot? It's got to be somewhere. If anybody wanted to see a near 100% run, there you go. Wow, I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. We enjoyed ourselves.
Oh, it was a lot of fun, though.
Yeah. I think the seed was trying to tilt you, and it worked on Mrzwanzig, but not on you, man.
Yeah, you were the stronger man mentally today.
I just wanted to power through it. I mean, it's almost 3 o'clock over there, your time. I don't blame you at all for doing the duck quit.
No, the issue that I ran into many an issue in this, but ultimately I got kind of stuck on Trinex. And I was under the impression that you'd be way ahead of me, and then when I joined the channel I realized you were heading up to T-Rock.
I took a lot of deaths to Mothula, and I'm just wondering how many clappers I got from chat when I finally killed him. I think I lost about probably 10 minutes to him alone. That was a mistake trying to go in there early with not a lot of health.
Yeah, this seed was not very nice with like armor upgrades, shields, health, bottles especially. Goodness gracious.
I only found one, and on my tracker I have very few places left to look, so I'm very curious as to where the rest of those were.
I gotta assume like there's at least one
3
left
bottles
in GT.
Yeah, 3 bottles in GT somewhere.
Probably.
At least one on like one of the medallion thingy bobbers.
Yeah.
Apparently red mail was on the pedestal.
Is that what that keyword was? Wow. I almost did pedestal because I figured, silvers I haven't found either. They could be there too.
I had a bit of a screw you game moment relatively early on after I'd while you were dying to Mothula, I was dying to blind, funnily enough.
Oh.
Which really shouldn't have happened, but whatever. But then after 2 deaths, I say screw it. I'm gonna do some other stuff. I go up Death Mountain real quick because I could do that, and I see the blue mail on Spectacle Rock where I can't get to, and I'm like, oh.
I had the same feeling. I had the exact same feeling. I'm like, oh, where's my mirror? Where's anything right now?
Funnily enough, I somehow first tried Mothula. He was very nice to me.
GG to you on that. I went into blind with the cape, so I had some safety strats there.
See, that was the unfortunate thing with my first death on blind is, I was like, oh, I'll just play it safe. I only need 1 more hit on him. I'll activate the cape real quick, just to be safe. But I didn't even have enough magic to activate it, and I immediately died.
That's one thing that this seed was nice about, but only to Kid. Kid, you got so many full magic drops.
Oh, I loved how many full magic drops I got.
You got a full magic drop at the beginning of the game that you skipped in Skullwood.
And
then got 3 more.
Yeah. There was. I killed one of the guards, and it was just underneath that overpass. And at first I didn't notice it until it popped all the way up. I'm like, it's too late to go back for that.
Oh man, that would have been lovely.
But yeah, that's why Kid's blind fight went so well. He got so many full magic drops.
Hmm. But oh man.
Anyway, good job to both of you, though.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes,
Getting as
GG.
far as you did at the very
Thank
least.
Definitely going to take the advice of people in chat and try out backdoor Trinex, because apparently that's a thing that I should be trying.
I think I need to practice my hammer strats on just about everything. I died during escape because I can't hit things with my hammer. I wasn't very good at whack-a-mole apparently.
Yeah, whack a rat or whatever it is. If you have enjoyed this run, I mean, as I definitely have, give these runners a follow. They're here. They're putting themselves out here for your entertainment.
And you can watch me not finish runs of other games.
Indeed.
Don't forget your commentators as well as the trackers. All of them put in a lot of work into all of these restreams. So we want to thank you guys too.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, and thanks for watching. If I would say, if you want to watch more Randomizer, that you might have to wait, but that's not true whatsoever. There's actually 4 races right now that are being restreamed. Clifford versus Shadow B5 is on ALTTP Randomizer. We've got Slothmaster versus Gloin on ALTTP Randomizer 4. Kelsey versus Hyphenated on ALTTP Randomizer 3. Recitador versus X-Ice Blue on Speed Gaming 5. And then we're also going to have Weighty Words versus Oh Hey It's David starting up on Speed Gaming 2 at 9 o'clock Eastern. So there's plenty more rando for you to go watch right now, and we've got a new one starting up in about 10 minutes, it looks like.
Yeah, if you like this randomizer, or really any speed running, do give the Speed Gaming channels a follow, and we will have you covered. Is there anything else about the seed that our runners wanted to talk about or bring up?
No. I'm ready to move on from this.
That's fair. Well, that being the case, I have been T2 Kemps. Our tracker has been Timp_. My co-commentator's been Sir Linkalot 777, and I hope you all have a good night.
Have a good night, everybody.